Miller with another edition of the Practice Gratitude Success Show. And now let me ask the people over here. Thank you. First of all, thank you for coming, Nicole, Christy, Len, Chris, Jessica, Joni. Thank you so much for being here today. Can you guys all hear me? Because I have a new microphone here today. I'm trying my new microphone out. So can you hear me? Can you please type in the chat and let me know if you can hear me? And I'm working on bringing my guest over. Let me turn on the chat again here. Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it. Anyway, so I am bringing over my guest right now. We're in a process right now where he's still kind of like in cyberspace. But Mycle Brandy, you've probably been listening, watching some of my posts recently. And Mycle Brandy, he's actually, I met him back in 2009, and he had this. So here he's coming in right on. There's Mycle right there. Hey, Mycle, how are you, my friend? I think your microphone might be muted, Mycle. Can you hear me? Nod your head if you can hear me. Can you hear me? I guess Mycle. Okay, everybody else can hear, but Mycle, you can't hear me, I don't think. Check your microphone and see if your microphone is muted, Mycle. He's not used to these things. You guys can all see Mycle, I'm assuming, right? Okay, I think your microphone might be muted. So click up there on the very top up there. Go put your mouse up on the top of the screen, and there's a microphone, there's a camera, and see if you can click the unmute. So I think you must be on mute. Your microphone is probably muted. Okay, or your speakers. Maybe you can't. If you can't hear me, Mycle. You can't hear me. Thanks, Len. Yes, probably his speakers are probably not on. Can you guys see Mycle? Can you read the chat, Mycle? Can you? I guess if it's no sense in asking him if he can read the chat if he can't hear me. Well, you know, if Mycle can't, if we can't get him operating here, I'm going to talk about Mycle. Then I'm just going to go ahead because I can easily fill in and talk about Mycle. Although we're going to miss. Okay, I know you can't be. Let me type in. He said he can't. Your speakers are down, Mycle. We'll get him on another day, like maybe tomorrow, whenever we can get it figured out. But what I'll do, I'll talk about him. But he's actually trying to call me on the phone right now. He's got the phone up to his ear. If he's got my right number. I got my phone too, Mycle. I'm gonna type in a different number for him to call. Because conceivably, even if he can't get his speakers going, he could probably. Excuse me, I'll be right back. He could probably hear on the phone. You could hear on the phone. Get back in my cubicle here. Okay, so hopefully he can see that the number I just typed in there. different phone. Look at the, it's funny. So why he's doing this, Chris, is he white boxed? He is white boxed, yeah. He is white boxed. No, he's white boxed, so he just can't hear me. So he's calling a different number. He's probably down an old phone number of mine or something like that. Read the chat, Michael. You can see my number. I'm just gonna until he can figure this out, until he can see me. I'm gonna just talk about him. Talk about I met him back in 2000. I met Michael back in 2009. I just created the stroke support community called strokesuck.com, and I met Michael, and Michael is a stroke survivor, 3-time stroke survivor, and his birthday and his anniversary is also on Valentine's Day. And Michael had his idea, and I guess it was just at a lark. He wanted to walk across America to raise awareness for people who've had strokes or something else like that. He's trying to call me on the phone, but I guess he's just not. I guess he's not seeing my phone number that I put in there. But so I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Here's this guy. He wants to walk across America, and he wants to do this just to raise awareness. And I said, well, that's awfully pretty freaking cool. So what I did, I just started getting some other people to learn about what he's doing, and we got behind him, and he started was Valentine's Day of 2010, and he walked solo across America, and he got into Washington, D.C. I think it was on Veterans Day of that same year. But here we go. Here he is right there. There's Michael. Michael.
We had this all set up last night, man. Everything lined up, the whole 9 yards, and I'm not getting any sounds at all.
Don't worry about it. We could probably do it just like this on the phone. They could probably hear you. Hey, guys, type in the chat if you can hear Michael. So I got you on speakerphone here.
Okay.
We could probably just do it just like this.
Okay, that'd be fine.
Let me see if somebody types in the chat if they can hear you. I was just going ahead and talking about how we met on Facebook, and you were okay. Okay, Jonathan Johnson, he can hear you. Okay, so yeah, so what we did, we just started. I just told the story about how I met you on Facebook, and I thought what you're doing is a okay. Glenn said kick you out and then come back in again. No, I think that's fine. As long as you can hear him, that's fine, Len. I think as long as you can hear him. So yeah, so the story is. Yeah, I think people can hear you. We'll just talk. I'm just going to do the introduction. I'm going to do the introduction, and then you talk mostly, okay? But first, let me just say this. So I met Michael, and I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. This guy wants to walk across America. So we just started getting some people to get behind him, support him, and then he went and started going. So Michael, why don't you take it over from that point? Tell me what you started to do back then, on Valentine's Day back in 2010. Tell us what happened at that point.
You're kind of cracking up on me there, Bob.
Okay, I was probably talking at the two things. Back on Valentine's Day in 2010 is when you started walking across America for the first time.
Right.
Okay, so tell us the reason why you wanted to do that, and tell us a story. Just tell us a story about it.
It was pretty amazing deal, Bob, because I arranged to have a reporter meet me at the gym to see some of the stuff that I was doing to, change my life around. And I just spontaneously said, I think I'll walk across America. And once I said that, then I had to figure out why was I going to do it. I mean, it was. But one thing saying it, it's another thing actually doing it. And so I got home and I told Louise, I said, honey, I told a reporter today that I'm going to walk across America. And she didn't talk to me for a couple of days. Yeah. So So it was after that. She was a pretty strong supporter, but it took a little while for me to decide exactly how I was going to work everything out. And before I decided to walk across America, I was walking marathons for the American Stroke Association.
Okay.
So it only made sense that that I stay in that with that group when I walked across America. So then it was just a question of figuring out how I could do that and raise money while I was doing it.
Right, that's cool. And so you've done actually 3 times now. You've walked across America.
That's correct.
So the first one was from LA, from Orange County to Washington D.C., and then tell us about the next 2 times.
The next one was San Diego. I started at San Diego City Hall and walked to Seattle and finished at the Seattle City Hall. And then the next day was Thanksgiving, and Daryl Prieto, my best friend, was driving with me when I got to Seattle. So he kind of hung out for a couple of days while I was up there. And on Thanksgiving, which was the day after I got there, Daryl and Louise and I helped feed homeless veterans their Thanksgiving dinner. So that, for me, was a pretty exciting event, just doing that and being part of that. And then in 2012 and 13, I walked from the Canadian border. I actually walked, there's a river that separates from the state of Maine and Canada. And I walked out into the middle of the bridge that said, "You are at the border." And I took a picture at the border, and then walked from that point down to Miami Beach City Hall. And Don Goodman was my sponsor at that time, and he helped me get all the way down south. And we went through some pretty hectic stuff on that particular walk. We before I got out of the state of Maine, we were snowed on pretty good, and then we got hit with Sandy, and that was pretty devastating. It was devastating for the people in the area, so it was difficult. But we also had the wonderful privilege of feeding homeless people that had been affected by Hurricane Sandy in New York City when we got to New York. So, but like I say, that was pretty devastating. But when I got to Miami, it was pretty incredible. The city of Miami proclaimed Valentine's Day, Mycle Brandy Day, which was pretty exciting.
That is so cool. I remember talking to you during that run or during that walk, and you were being in the Everglades in that area, and you're like cutting out and stuff like that. We're trying to talk on a phone.
Yeah, in fact, I had finished the walk, and we were going down to Key West just to visit Key West. And you talked to me. You called me while I was in the Everglades, and there was absolutely no connectivity in the Everglades. I didn't see any alligators or crocodiles either. Heard a couple, but never saw any.
Yeah. So now, Mycle, during your walks, I mean, it's just one thing to walk, but what you do when you go to places, I see Jessica's here as well. Now, what you visited her recently, but what you do when you go places, you always stop into hospitals, rehab centers, and different things like that all the time. So tell us about what you do when you're walking, your purpose.
When I'm walking, I try to give as much time as I possibly can. I get up early in the morning and walk and try to save the afternoons for visiting hospitals. And there have been a couple occasions where people have asked me to meet with them individually, or meet with their parents, or meet with their loved one that has a stroke. And I try to meet with anyone that wants to talk and that needs a shoulder. I try to provide that. In Jessica's case, it was kind of an unusual event, because she heard that I was walking across America, and she actually started getting in contact with me before I got into the state of Oklahoma. And I had a lot of people at that time that were, saying, I'm going to see you. I want to walk with you, and not a whole lot of them actually did it, but a few of them, kept saying it. So, when I walk, I just concentrate on walking, and I hope that God will provide, sustenance, for me to sleep at night, and that I'll get to meet some wonderful people. Well, by the time I got into Missouri, I knew that I was going to be meeting Jessica and her son Brendan. And I got to Sikeston, which is in the southern part of Missouri, close to the Mississippi River. And Jessica came down and picked me up all the way. That was about an hour and a half, 2.5 hours drive from St. Louis. Picked me up and took me up to St. Louis to visit the Barnes Jewish Christian Hospital up there, the hospital where Brendan's life was saved. And then I got to meet Jessica and Brendan and Marilyn, Jessica's mother, and just had a wonderful time up in St. Louis. And then, of course, they drove me home, and we drove me back down to Sikeston, and then I crossed the Mississippi, and I kept going. Well, Jessica and I, and then several of the people that I've met along the walk have remained close friends. And I actually have gone to see Jessica a couple of times, and I met Kathy Martin Howard during Brendan's 8th annual walk, and so I went and actually spoke at her support group as well. So it's been a pretty exciting life for me the last since 2010.
Yeah, that's so cool because you stop at all the different hospitals, you visit people, and I'm sure you have quite an impact on people who are in the hospital, and all of a sudden they see you come walking in, I mean, you're not a little guy. You're what are you, like 6'5"?
I'm 6'4".
6'4". Okay, I was close. But you come walking in. You have a cane. You walk with a cane, and so you probably inspire a lot of people who are sitting there paralyzed and they can't move.
I guess I am an imposing figure, but my smile goes from ear to ear, and so I guess I'm not too intimidating. So that makes it nice. And to be truthful with you, I love meeting the medical personnel because those are the people that save lives every single day. And I love meeting them. I love speaking with doctors, but even I have great respect and pride in our medical profession and in the doctors. It's the nurses and the lab technicians and the candy stripers. Those are the people that I really want to meet because those are the ones that have the hands-on times with people that are desperate for that hands-on time.
Exactly. No, what you're doing is so amazing. And now how you do it is, tell us how you actually do it, because when you're walking in the past, and you've had some like friends of yours, Don, I think mostly Don Goodman, and your wife Louise they kind of like drive a support car. So tell us how that works. So you just tell us how the whole operation works, kind of.
Okay, sometimes it's a little confusing, but it's pretty simple for me. I can't walk for 30 miles straight. I can walk 30 miles in a day, but I can't walk it straight. I have to take a little break. So what we've done over just experience after 3 walks is we've developed. Don and I developed this pattern to where I would walk for 3 miles. He would park it. He would drive his car up 3 miles. I would walk up to his vehicle, he would have some Gatorade or some water for me to take. And if it were lunchtime, I'd have my shot blocks and stuff like that. And then I'd walk another 3 miles, and he would go ahead. So that makes the guy that's going to be actually helping me, that makes his job maybe a little more difficult than it would be if I just walk from, during the whole day. But it also makes it less boring too, because he's doing something for 8 hours, and that's what I'm doing, is I'm walking for 8 hours during the day. But I get up early. I usually get started walking at daybreak, sometimes before daybreak. I try to get done walking before 2 o'clock, because I want to get to the hospitals before the shift change at 3:30. And so I try to arrange all television interviews and all newspaper interviews. I try to connect them to the hospital visits and so forth. So I try to do that all in the afternoon. And travel time, if we have to go someplace, and I'll get up a little bit earlier and I'll walk. On Christmas 2012, I took Christmas 2012 off. I only walked 12 miles that day.
Oh, gee. Hey, Mycle. Now, I actually walked with you you said nobody helps you out. I walked with you the first 13 miles when you were in San Diego. Remember that?
I sure do.
I said, thank God I'm not going the rest of the way. Thank God I'm not going all the way to Seattle. That's a lot of work. Because you walk over 20 miles a day. Over 20 miles a day, that's incredible.
Yeah, I think the farthest I've walked is, I think 27 miles I walked from, or maybe it was 29, from Munette to Republic, Missouri.
I mean,
I think that was about 27, 29
could you
miles.
imagine going about a marathon a day? I mean, I can't imagine doing something like that. That's incredible. That's sick.
It was a little less. My average on all of them were a little less. My average on the first was a half marathon a day. It was 13.1 miles.
Okay.
My average on the second one was about 15 miles. And my average on the third one was pretty close to 16.5 miles a day. I mean, that's every day, that I totaled the average. So there were days that I walked farther than that. I was training for the New York Marathon. And about a week before the New York Marathon, I did a 27-mile day just to make sure that I could do the marathon, because I hadn't done any marathons in a while. And trained hard, was ready to go, and went all the way down to New York, and went to the expo and signed up for the, got my packet, and got back to the hotel only to find out that the mayor had canceled the race.
Oh,
that was kind of disappointing. But
yeah, God.
that was going to be May 10th. But I think I'm done doing marathons now. I'm going to try to do one more walk across America, and then I'd either like to walk the Wall of China or do something that that I can reach another 100 million people, hopefully, with the message of hope.
So something global on a global scale like that. Hey, Mycle. So now what we are going to do. This is not a matter of we're going to try to do. It's a done deal. We are going to get you on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and there's we share. There's a thing on my Facebook wall, and I'm going to share it all over the place. I'm going to put it on my website. It's going to be all over. It's just a form to fill out. Just fill out the form, put your name and number, and the reason why you want to see Mycle Brandy on the Ellen show. Because what we're going to do, we're going to get you a sponsor. Now I could see a big sponsor, anybody like Adidas, Asante, Nike. I could see some big sponsor up there, just like supporting you as you had an RV going across America. I could see that, and it's going to happen.
I like the idea of walking from my front porch to her show. And I can't see how she couldn't find that would be in itself something different, because I'm sure no one's ever walked 72 miles to get on her show. And so I'm willing to do that. And if she were smart, she would really play that up, because it's
she's smart. We'll get you on there. She's smart.
I hope that I get on the show. I love Ellen, to be truthful with you, and Ellen does have a lot of shows where she picks up people doing things like what you and I are doing, Bob.
Yeah. Well, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We are definitely going to do this, but I need everybody's support. And also now, Christi Kelly is here. Christi Kelly is the wife of Jackson Kelly. And they have a show called Friday Night Live. And what we're going to do on Friday Night Live, yeah, because I'm using the phone and the microphone at the same time. So that's the reason why it's happening. But anyways, we're going to have you on Friday Night Live. We're going to do an audition tape for Ellen on that show. And we're going to send that in to Ellen. And so, yeah, so we're going to do this. We're going to talk about that. That was kind of a surprise. I just want to let you know about today. And so Ellen's going to get, we'll edit it, and it's going to be real cool. So you're going to get all sorts of support from a lot of cool people. But we need grassroots support. We need everybody to send in that form. We need to bombard Ellen to get her to know all about what you're doing.
Well, what's happened on that you've driven on this has been remarkable. That was, I just mentioned it on Saturday, and by Sunday it had taken a life of its own, and that's because of all the stuff that you've done, to push this. So, Bob, once again, I can't thank you enough. I mean, you and I have been kind of connected at the hip since the very beginning of this, and I talked to you right after I decided that I was going to walk across America, and you were with me the whole time. And I can remember in Dallas, Arizona, looking for a place that had Wi-Fi so I could do my Thursday night show, and you've done more to lift me up than anyone I can imagine.
Yeah, but it's a lot easier sitting here at my computer than walking across America. But that's what we're going to do, Mycle. So how can people get a hold of you? How can people get a hold of you, Mycle?
Well, they can always reach me through my website, which is walkingacrossamerica.org, or they can certainly message me on Facebook at Walking Across America with Mycle Brandy. Message me there. I do my Facebook every day. I have an 800 number. I don't have it memorized. I have to read it to you.
I'll post it a little bit later on. I'll post that.
Okay. So I've got that 800 number, and that they can call, and I'll get that goes right straight to a message center, but I'll get that pretty quick and call right back on that. And probably the best way though is through Facebook.
Okay.
Because
Okay. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
Okay, cool. So we're about wrapped up for right now though. But yeah, you were going on the Ellen show. I don't know exactly when, but you're going to walk there. It's about how many miles from your house to Ellen's house, Ellen's studio?
It's 72 miles.
Okay.
From my porch to the front door of her studio.
I think that's awesome.
I figure it'll take me 4 days at 18 miles a day.
Okay, it's a done deal.
It's just a hop, skip, and a jump, because I'd be more than happy to do that. And the good thing about it is that I'd have enough people that would be excited about it, that we'd be able to document it if Ellen didn't want to document it, we'd be able to.
Oh, it's a done deal.
But I'm just I'm at the point now to where I should be able to start training in April 1st, and I'm anxious to start my next walk, and going to start training April 1st. So
okay,
I'd like to get on her show as soon as I can, so I can stress the importance of what we're doing.
It's a done deal. Oh, and Jessica, the person you're talking about, is over here on the side. Jessica Spear, her son Brendan had a stroke before he was born. Now, Jessica, this your official notice that I need you on the show. So message me, okay?
Okay, I didn't hear.
I know. Well, you don't have to hear that, Michael. That was for Jessica. I want her in the show. So anyway, so we'll be in contact, Michael. We are gonna get you on the show, on the Ellen show. So thank you so much for coming on today, and we're gonna keep we will keep passing around all the form that we need to get Ellen to get you up there on that show. Okay, I'm gonna let you go because I get too much crackling here with the phone. So, but thank you, Michael. We'll be in touch then. Thank you so much for coming on here. I really appreciate that.
Well, yeah, before I take off, I want to let everyone know what my next project's going to be. Do we have time?
Yeah, go ahead.
My plans are to start in South Carolina. My good friends Sharon and Robbie live in South Carolina, so I wanted to start at Myrtle Beach, and then I was going to go north to Sanford, Connecticut, and then I was going to go west from there, going to Cleveland and to Albany, New York, and Cleveland and Toledo and Chicago, and then down to St. Louis, and then up to Des Moines, and then across to Denver, and then over the mountains into San Francisco, and I was going to finish it in San Francisco. That's going to get me over the 10,000 mile mark, and that's what I'd really like to do as far as American, and then after that, we'll have to figure out what we're going to do. But that's what I'm looking for a sponsor for, is that walk.
Okay.
It's called E2P2.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. S2S2. Sorry about that. I'm going to start in Surfside, South Carolina. I'm going to go to San Francisco. So that's S2S, and this is the second one that I've done because I did San Diego to Seattle, so I added a 2 at the end of that.
Okay.
But thank you very much for having me on the show today. I love you guys. I really am appreciative that you all came on, and I've been reading your texts and here on the side, and it's pretty awesome. I can't express to you how good I feel about knowing all of you all, and thank you so very much for really stepping up to the plate the last couple of days with the Ellen thing. I really appreciate that.
We'll definitely have you on a lot more before you get on Ellen, but you're definitely going to be on Ellen, okay?
Sounds like a deal.
Okay, all righty. Thanks, Michael, and thanks everybody for coming here today. So stay tuned. This is just beginning.
Sounds good.
Okay, bye, Michael. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.